Okay, then, how you doing? We're still in Unit 6. We're still talking about equations, and this time we're talking about multi-step equations. Well, we did two-step equations. Could it have 3 steps or 4? Yep. Sometimes equations have more than 2 steps. You know what? We'll figure it out. Alright, multi-step equations might look something like this. Yeah, sometimes they're big, long, scary-looking equations, but you know what? We're just going to take it one step at a time, and each step isn't going to be that difficult. And by the end of this, it's not going to be a big problem at all. The trick here is figuring out what the heck your first step is. So what do I do first here? What's my first step? Well, I'll tell you. Your first step in an equation like this is look for like terms. What's like terms? Well, look at the 5a and the 10a. Those are like terms because they both have an a. Okay, so this would be like 5 apples plus 10 apples makes 15 apples. So you smush the 5a and the 10a together and you get 15a. And now instead of 5a plus 10a plus 5 equals 35, you have just 15a plus 5 equals 35. And that's not such a big, long, scary looking equation. Actually, that looks a lot like the two-step equations that we were solving yesterday. So we can solve this one pretty quick. All I have to do is get rid of that 5 by subtracting, because it's the opposite of plus 5 is minus 5. Now I'm just going to have 15a on the left and 30 on the right, because 35 minus 5 is 30. And now all I have to do to get a by itself is divide by 15 and divide by 15. And I'm not going to write that for you just for the sake of space on the screen, but I think you can see that 30 divided by 15 is 2. Ah, that wasn't too bad, right? Let's try another one. 5b plus 11 minus 2b equals 50. Remember when I wrote big scary equations like this at the beginning of this unit on the whiteboard and I said, even though this looks really big and scary, trust me, I promise, you'll be able to do these kind of things. Well, now we're doing those big, long, scary equations, and they're not even really that scary because you just take it one step at a time. And again, your first step, do we have any like terms that we can smush together? Sure we do. 5b and 2b, but it's a minus 2b, not a plus 2b. So, if you had 5 bananas and you took away 2 bananas, oh, you have 3 bananas. No big deal, right? 5b minus 2b is 3b. The plus 11 is still hanging out there because we didn't do anything to that, and the equals 50 is still hanging out over there because we didn't change that at all. We just took the 5b and the 2b and smushed them together. All right, now I'm going to get the b by itself, but I can't get rid of the 3 yet. I've got to get rid of the 11 first. What's 50 minus 11? 39. The other 11s cancel out. I just have 3 left over on the left. What do I have to do? I got to get rid of the get rid of the 3. That's right. Get rid of the 3 by dividing both sides by 3, and boom, I'm done. This isn't too bad, right? It's just one step at a time. All right, by the way, if you were going to check this answer, not only would you have to plug that 13 in for this b, oh, you'd also have to plug it in there, wouldn't you? So it might take a little bit longer to check your answer on this, but not too much. Just figure out what 5 times 13 is, what 2 times 13 is, and put those things in there, and then see if the whole left side comes out to 50 when you do it. If it does, you know you got it right. If it doesn't, you know you made a mistake somewhere. So, on multi-step equations, even if you're not sure which step to do next, just try something, because you can always test your answer at the end and see if you did it right. All right, why don't you try one of these? 251 equals 10x minus 5x plus 1. Okay, what about distributive equations? I don't even know what that means. Do you? Oh, here's what that means. Remember that good old distributive property? The distributive property is when you have like parentheses and then something's times in the whole parentheses, like you're multiplying the whole a plus 2 by 10. And you're not just multiplying the a by 10, you're multiplying the a by 10 and you're multiplying the 2 by 10. And so we get 10a because you do 10 times a, and you get 20 because you do 10 times 2. Oh yeah, the distributive property was actually pretty easy, huh? So this isn't a big deal. You can do the distributive property as one of your multi-step steps when you're solving an equation. And once you've done that, you just go, oh wait, I've got a 5 and I've got a 20. Those are the like terms this time. So what's 5 plus 20? 25. Now I have a 10a plus 25 equals 35. So divide by 10. Oh, this wasn't too bad, right? So sometimes the distributive property is going to be one of those steps in one of these multi-step equations that you're going to solve. And that's okay. No big deal. By the way, also, if you wanted to check your answer on this one, it'd be really easy. If a is supposed to equal 1, just plug a 1 in where you see the a in the beginning. What's 1 plus 2? 3. And you're going to multiply that by 10, which is 30, and then you're going to do 5 plus 30. Oh yeah, that was actually really easy to check. One more just for good measure. What if you had 20t minus 8 times t plus 2? We still got to use the distributive property in there because I see those parentheses. You're multiplying that whole thing by 8, but notice it's a minus 8. It's not a plus 8. So don't forget to distribute that negative with the 8. It's going to be minus 8t, and then the minus 8 times 2 is negative 16, not positive 16. I think you can probably see where that negative came from, but if you don't, take a second, pause, and look and make sure you see where those minuses are coming from. Okay, notice, did the 20t in the front change? No. Did the negative 28 all the way over there on the right change? No. All we did was take that distributive chunk in the middle and distribute it. Once we did that, what do we do next here? Oh, 20t minus 8t. Those are like terms. I can combine them. That's like if you had 20 tomatoes and you took away 8 tomatoes, you'd have 12 tomatoes. The rest of the equation stays the same. Now we just got to solve it. To get t by itself, I've got to get rid of the 12, but I've got to get rid of the 16 first because it's not attached. So the opposite of minus 16 is plus 16. I've got to balance that out over here. I've got negative 28 and plus 16. My answer on that's going to come out negative, but that's okay. Negative 12. Oh, and then I've got 12t over there on the left. So I've got to divide both sides by 12. Again, for the sake of space on the screen, I'm going to skip the step where I write divided by 12, but you should write that in when you're doing it. And I get t equals negative 1. And I'm done. And that wasn't really that bad at all, was it? We can do multi-step equations. Here's one. Make sure to use that distributive property. Make sure to pay attention to your pluses and minuses. And of course, make sure to check your answer at the end. Bonus problem! Yay! You don't have to do this one, but I bet you could figure it out if you tried. And if you want to, I might give you a bonus point or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10. See if you can try it. That's it. See you tomorrow.